Hello everyone, Nicole Roberts Jones here, greeting you from my office. And I have to say, I'm so super excited that for 2013 I begin my video blog. So once a month you get to see me raw, live, and in color, and authentically me. So here I am today for January. And we begin this video blog with our theme for such a time as this. So if you've been with me for a while, then you know that one of my favorite stories is what? Esther. The story of Esther in the Bible. Esther 4:14 is really for such a time as this. That's where I get that quote from. So the one thing that I know is about 20 years ago when I began to grow me and get to know me, it was me stumbling on a book of Esther that really fundamentally changed my life. See, back then, 20 years ago, around 93, 94, I was a hot mess. I had the absolute worst attitude. Back then, I was one of those mean, in-your-face, rolling my neck, hand on my hip kind of sisters. You know, the kind that dare you to challenge them anywhere, anytime, because I had you. I got this, right? So the one thing that I learned 20 years ago was that attitude was a mask. See, I thought it made me seem like I had it all together, that I was strong and confident. But really behind that mask, I was lonely. I was afraid. I didn't like myself. I was uncomfortable being me. I didn't feel worthy. And so I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember one day just feeling like something was tugging at my soul. I felt like God was whispering in my ear, enough is enough. You see, think of it this way. There's a quote by Joseph Campbell that says, the privilege of life is being who you are. The privilege of life is being who you are. But what happens when you don't love who you are? What happens when you don't like yourself and you don't love yourself? Well, that's where I was 20 years ago. See, the product of me having this horrible, mean, in-your-face, trying to act like I was strong kind of attitude, the result in my life was that I was dating men who were cheating on me, who didn't understand my value. I didn't understand my value, so how could I expect someone else to understand my value? And because of that, many of them mentally abused me. See, because I was so busy trying to look strong and put together, I had run up my credit card bills, every one of them, maxed them out, shopping, looking good, trying to appear a certain way. I had really gotten to a place where I didn't care about people. I didn't care if you liked me. I didn't care if I hurt your feelings. Oh well, get over it. I had gotten to a place where I didn't love myself. I didn't like myself. I couldn't even stand to be alone with myself. So in that moment of epiphany for me, when I began to read the book of Esther, the first thing that I did was I remember I went to dinner with myself, by myself. That first dinner was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I had to sit with me and I felt like everyone was looking at me. Remember, I was all about appearance. I was all about appearing strong and like I had it together. And back then I thought, who eats dinner by herself? By the time I went on my third date with me, I loved it. I loved being with myself. I loved people staring at me because then I'd start conversations. I loved just being with me. So I began to realize that there is no such thing as a perfect woman. I began to realize that God blesses us in our imperfections. He uses our imperfections. And I began to learn that as I began to grow me. Another of my favorite Bible verses is, I will praise you for I am wonderfully and fearfully made. See, God does not make junk. And so there are no mistakes with who you are. So despite the fact of everything I had gone through, I began to understand it. Instead of asking why, I began to see the lessons in my life as beautiful, instead of as things that cursed me or hurt me. I began to be able to grow from everything I had been through. See, Esther went from being an orphan to becoming queen. So my great epiphany was seeing my own trajectory, seeing my own path as a blessing, seeing the privilege of my life was being who I was. And I began to see my call and my purpose. I began to fully understand why I was put here on earth. I began to understand my gifts and my greatness. And in that moment, I began to work with women to live in their own light. See, when I got to my own happy, when I got out of my own darkness to flip on my switch, I wanted every woman to live that same life. And so that's why I do what I do. That's why I've written my books. That's why I speak all over the country. That's why I'm a life success coach. And that is why I'm here with you today. So today, I'm super excited that I am sharing with you in 2013 that journey that I began 20 years ago. Now, I have to tell you that I have not arrived. Now, I might be 90% instead of the 10 or maybe even the 5% I was at 20 years ago. See, 20 years ago, I probably loved myself about 5%. Now, I'm at 90. Hello. And on my way to 100. But where I am is so much sweeter than where I used to be. Where I am is such a gift that keeps on giving. So anyway, I can go on and on, but the point is this. This year, throughout the course of our time together, I'm going to share with you my journey. So many of you have heard me talk about my new book, It's Your Time to Shine, yay. No, I'm not. Well, I kind of am advertising my book, but really I wrote this book because of everything I had been through, because of what I found on my own journey, because I know, like nothing else I've ever discovered in my life, is how beautiful life becomes when you begin to understand your own light, when you begin to understand and grow your greatness. And so throughout the course of this blog this year, I'm going to use my book. My book is really going to work in conjunction with us. So no, I'm not going to tell you what everything says. You got to go through the book. Really, the book is a weekly devotional. It gives you weekly points of things to explore in you, but this blog will also act as a partner with that blog. So what are we going to talk about this year? So of course, this month I'm going to delve deeper into For Such a Time as This. But then we're going to look at character, looking at the character of Esther and her strength and her dignity. We're going to look at what does it mean to be a virtuous woman. Then we're going to look at purpose, how we all have to keep our eyes on the prize to our gift, our greatness, our calling. Then we're going to look at how to live limitlessly. So there are so many things that will keep us stuck in yesterday when we can be moving toward tomorrow. Then we're going to look at getting to know the Creator. See, when you get to know who created you and that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, I can't tell you how sweet life is. And so we're going to get to know and grow in God. Then we're going to look at those people around us, our friends, or like I say in my first book, Define Your Own Way, your team. Because either they're lifting you up or they're tearing you down. They're either making healthy deposits or negative withdrawals in your life. And then finally, once we get to all those ingredients, once we get to understand all those areas in our own life, then guess what we do? We shine. So we get to our greatest, most brilliant, most glowing, magnificent, fabulosity. We get to our shine. So I'm super excited that this year, 2013, I will get to go in depth with my own journey and share with you as I get to grow even more as I share with you. But for this moment, let me leave you with this. So as you all know, on Monday, we will celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday. And then after we leave King Day, we go right into Black History Month. So with that thought, I want us to think about those people that came before us. And this is not just a black thing. See, all of us have somebody that came before us that did what they did so that we can do what we do. And so whether your family has migrated or traveled or moved or fought or marched or sat down so that you could have opportunity, I want us to take this moment to really realize that the light that we shine, really, we're able to do that standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, standing on the shoulders of everything they did. So whether it was your mother or your father, whether it was your grandmother, your grandfather, whether it was your mother or your great-grand, whoever that was that came before you, that did something in your life so that you could fundamentally become a better person or do better. See, I'm the first person in my family that went to college. And I could go on and on about who I am based on those that came before me. But this is a moment that we pay homage. This is a moment that we get to shine so that they can look down on us and say, girl, job well done. Everything I did wasn't in vain. They get to say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of who you're becoming. I'm proud of who you're moving toward. And guess what? I'm excited that I get to say that with them. That I get to see you in all your brilliance. That together we get to move toward possibility and promise this year as we all get to offer such a time as this moment. So welcome to our new video blog for 2013. Super excited to get to share with you throughout the course of this year. See you soon. Bye-bye.